is Bo Sanders from Los Angeles, California. You know, there are some things in this world that are not quite right, but there's also some things that are right on. Here is a little dose of right on from Doug Pagitt Radio.
Nice little bit, isn't it?
Yes.
Bo doing a little right on for us. You know, we like to say around here that the right on is this desire to say that there's people who have strength and have faith and have hope and have love, and may your strength and your faith and your hope and your love spread to somebody else. That it's catchy, that it's that it moves around from one person to the other, and that it gets powerful in people's lives for a whole variety of reasons. And so when people do good things and right things and positive things, we like to say to them, hey, that's what one ought to do. Your love, your faith, your hope, your strength is going to spread to somebody else. So we like to award the right on to people.
Yes.
Every week. And sometimes we have a lament, and sometimes we don't. This week there's no lamenting. We're just going straight to the right on, because the right on this week is going to go out to the good people over at King of Kings Lutheran Church in Woodbury, Minnesota. They put together and became part of an effort of holding what they call a Blue Christmas. Mm-hmm. Blue Christmas is Christmas that's meaningful to people for whom this is a sad and hard and painful time of year. Mm-hmm. And so they had a religious Christmas celebration acknowledging that, calling people into that, and declaring that as a part of their church's vocabulary. That gets a right
wonderful.
On. Isn't that a great idea?
Oh, it is wonderful.
Yeah, I mean, I was in a little chat with a guy last week on Sunday at church, and I said, hey, how you doing? He goes, I've got to tell you, this is a hard time of year. Mm-hmm. And he's an interesting cat, and I like him a lot. And he just has a really different perspective than most people on so many things. And he said, I just think Christmas, this whole season, is really bad for people.
It is actually really tough on people. Like, there's a huge uptick in social services. Mm-hmm. There's an uptick in mental health issues, suicide, because a lot of people feel a bigger disconnect, a lot of disenfranchised, and people who are suffering feel it even worse at the holidays because there's this big emphasis on...
Because you feel so out of sync. Yeah, for 1/12 of the year.
And so the gap between you and this happy, tinkly... Christmas music-y, hot cocoa drinking thing. Yes. It feels like all the more.
Yeah, and he was bringing up, you've got people who, for whom they're single parents. Mm-hmm. They feel all this pressure from their kids and from themselves about how they want to make something great for their kids, but they don't have the money, and so then their financial situation. It's just he was really sensitive and angst filled about the pain that this is for people. And so I was thinking about that, and then I ran across this little article of the King of Kings Lutheran Church, who said this is their third year of doing it, of running this Blue Christmas. And they said it was started by people in their church that like to organize around prayer, realizing that people had a painful time of the year, and that people should get together, and having the rest of the world, as they like to say, going about and bustling around and being merry and bright, and an emphasis on family traditions and all that, this pain starts to build. So rather than saying to people like, I know this really sucks, it's okay that this isn't for you. Yeah. It's okay that this is a hard time for you. They went a step further and tried to organize in a way that would have as much credence and credit given to the difficulty of life at this time as anything.
As making lefse.
And that's the piece that from the part of the reason I wanted to have the right on is not just because it's contrarian, but a good dose of contrarianism should get the right on all the time. But it's also more in tune with the story that is heralded at this time, right? Yeah. So we have lots of things going on, right? We have sort of an end of the year kind of celebration. You have the winter solstice celebration. It just continues to just get darker and darker and darker. At least in Minnesota, we live. That sun is so far to the south. it just barely comes up. It's like we live in Alaska at this time of the year. There's about 2 weeks here where, I mean, the sun is just way.
It's dark for a long time in the morning, and it gets dark real quick.
Oh, I mean, I'm going to go on a run this. I was going to run this afternoon, and I literally had to think. Well, if I don't get started by 3, I'm gonna have to bring my night running stuff.
Yes, you will.
I don't run that far that I can't start at 3. But then on the 21st, right? The lights, the rotation of the earth and all is going to bring us more light, and it's going to start getting brighter. So this is a season of things getting darker, and then the winter solstice, or if the Mayans are right, the end of the world. And then
that's right.
Things are going to get brighter and brighter. So there's that going on. There's the tax end of the season and buying and spending. Like there's a lot of narratives that are going on right now. And one of them is the birth narratives, the sending of the Son of God and light into the world story of Christianity. Now that just gets blended in with all the rest of these where people, think Christmas is about Jesus's birthday. And for the love of it all, it's not Jesus's birthday. Christianity doesn't do birthdays in its tradition. It's not about Jesus's birthday.
It's just the religious people trying to, cut out the pagan holiday, right? Like
but even if you were going to claim the Christian heritage of Christmas, it's not about his birthday. It's not a birthday celebration. It's the sending of the Savior to the world narrative. It's not, you were born today? Well, it's your day. Like we have a birthday narrative in North American culture that is not at all that. Like, I'm not trying to be a purist. I'm not saying like, well, there's a real reason for the season of Christmas, but just in the Christian tradition, it's not about birthday, right? It's about, like the 25th was not Jesus' birthday, of course not. Even the Pope has come around to that publicly. Yes,
good
publicly.
for him.
That we're not doing birthdays here.
Yeah.
It's not the day that Jesus was born. You don't give him a birthday
not
cake.
Blow any candles.
So I don't want to insult people that are going to have a birthday cake on the 25th. But for the love of it all, could you not do that?
You're going to mock anyone who has a birthday cake.
I'm not mocking them. I'm just imploring them to stop it for the love of all, please. But anyway, there's this other big story of the deliverance, right?
Yeah.
The
those who were of a revolution.
Those who were in distress, the son is born and a child is given, and the government shall be upon his shoulders, and all Isaiah 9 about this thing,
in a way, it's like the beginning of liminal space.
Yes, that's what it is, and it's in the midst of struggle and frustration and darkness. That's the thing about that the Christian story works better in the blue Christmas than it works in the bright and cheery and holiday festive Christmas. It doesn't make sense in the same way in the cocoa drinking, sweater wearing, Coca-Cola infused, saccharine, overly sweet Christmas. Then it's got to become birthday narrative, right? That's how I think we end up with birthday narrative, because then you've got to be like, oh, well, let's say cheers to Jesus, and right. But the blue Christmas notion that when you read the narratives that are included in the gospel, they're not coming to a people who are in their annual celebration of lights and goodness and fun. The Jewish people had those celebrations. That's not where this one comes. This one comes as the pain will end someday. Your deliverer will come. And in this story, which makes the Christian story part of some of the other religious narratives, it comes in possibility and human structure, right?
Community.
It comes in a baby. Right? It doesn't come in a flash, right? I mean, it's an interesting storyline, right? That through a promise to a mom is a baby who's going to grow up and is going to do something.
Yeah.
That's really different than just hang on, and in the twinkle of an eye, in the flash of a light, it's all gonna be done. So there's this other story, and the blue Christmas, right on to these people, because that's I think that's got a real ring to it. Mm-hmm. So they're, I mean, I'm not one who taps into Christmas with the same veracity of other people. But the Christian story can have some really really good pieces to it.
Mm-hmm. It does have its moments.
Yeah. And I don't mind at all that the Christian Christmas story is not being proclaimed by the rest of culture. Mm-hmm. In fact, I'm quite bothered that it is. I'm bothered that when I'm at a store, I'm singing Jesus-y Christmas hymns. It just seems bizarre to me. Yeah. And I can't wait to have our atheist show on, because I want to ask them, like, how is that for you?
What they sing?
Well, no, I want to know how that is for them.
How that feels when it's everywhere.
Oh, it's got to make you crazy. Yeah. I mean,
it makes me crazy.
It makes me crazy, and I'm on that side. I can't imagine you walk into a place and you're like, seriously, at Micro Center, because it's blatant religious stuff.
It's not just like it's subtle.
No.
Rudolph songs.
Yeah, I mean, how would I feel in this country if there was a Jewish thing about how Jesus isn't the Messiah song being sung? Still waiting on the Messiah. Can't wait for the Messiah to come, because the one that people said isn't. Yeah, how would I? Yeah, really?
The constant.
I mean, the fact that that's just been sort of spilled over the whole thing. So I'm not trying to say that, look, everybody else needs to tell the story, but when the Christian story wants to be told. In the midst of the holiday seasons, because it's one of the many stories that's going to be told. The Blue Christmas and the people over at King of Kings Lutheran Church in Woodbury, hot diggity, good for them.
It's a good way to tell it.
So they get a little right on from Doug Pagitt Radio, and may their strength bring strength, faith bring faith, hope bring hope, love bring love. So to all of you on this Christmassy time, Merry Christmas.
Hang in there.
Hang in there.
May the force be with us all.
And may you have a blue Christmas. Isn't that a great idea? Blue Christmas on Doug Pagitt Radio.